Good. We're live. Hello. Hello, everywhere people watch this live. We hit a landmark, 16 followers on Twitch. We've been on there for a couple of weeks. So if you're on Twitch, thank you for watching. I'm trying to get across as many places as possible because it wasn't that long ago that Instagram wasn't a thing. And when we were growing up, it was all of the ancillary AOL, MySpace. What was the one? Tumblr. Yeah. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Happy Friday to you. I have Luke Richardson coming and joining me tomorrow. Not on live stream. He'll be on a couple of lives next week. In fact, next Friday, we got a really good live. I've got a all-time deadlift PB, at least a gym PB. We'll see how I feel. But that's going to be a members only on Friday. So we'll pin in the comments to join up to the members channel. It'll be me, Luke, deadlifting heavy, and having a couple of laughs. So let's get into the comments. Alicia is going to pop them up on screen. Doesn't matter why. We have one mic today, not two. So you will read the comments at the same time that I'm hearing them, and I will repeat the question as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming on, spending a bit of time. We've got deadlifts today. I'll write out my session. We're going to do deadlifts, some snatch grip deadlifts, and some accessories. So why don't I write that out now? At least you can read across a couple of questions while I grab it. Anything? All right. Are we definitely live?
We're live, yeah.
Okay. All right. Session today. We've got deadlifts. And I have to make up for my abysmal session the other day on split jerks. But I think I've rectified that. I think I know what I was doing stupid. I also have an Olympic bar now, so I'm really looking forward to getting some reps in on that. All right. Deadlifts. I've got 360 kilo or 800 pounds for 2 sets of 5. Then we're going to move on to pause deadlifts, 3x3 at RP7. Which is going to be probably about 320 kilos after all those reps at 360. Then we have frame, and frame is going to be 340 by 2 sets. This is going to be a frame hold. Last week, I did comp weight, which is 400 kilos for 10 seconds. So that should be somewhat easy. And then into 5x20 cal conditioning, which maybe I'll run today. 5x20 cal conditioning, that's it. And then maybe I might do some splits today.
So we have a question here from Lazar. What do you think will win the overhead jerk at Arnold's?
255, I think. I think that would be a huge number. You also got to imagine, like, we saw Evan hit a 250 behind the neck push press. That was incredible. But it's a totally different animal being able to do it on comp day. I think we've seen that over and over. So hopefully everyone brings their best. Naturally, not everyone's going to hit a PB every single competition lift. So I think 255. And I still think it's me and Lucas Hatton who have the potential to do it, but I could be surprised.
And then one from Joey Smith. Loving the Big and Strong program so far. What days did you recommend taking the 2 test days in between?
Rest days, potentially, he means?
Rest days.
Yeah. It's more life dependent than anything. Even as someone who does this for a living and as a job, I still take my rest days based on when I feel like I need to and when I have the time. So I would encourage you to operate much the same way. Don't worry as much physiologically, worry more psychologically, because that's going to impact a lot more. I would rather you sleep properly, eat properly, and have that dictate when you train, rather than trying to fit in specific days and rest days. I believe I have that in the notes section of the program as well, so you can have a peek there on a bit of advice on rest days. That being said, I do have rest days put in and activities for you to do. That's at moosecoaching.com, by the way, where I sell those programs and education programs, what to do on your rest days, rest times, et cetera, et cetera. So plenty there.
Deadlift, is any given set of 6 or higher any good?
Yeah, it's good depending on the context. Like off season, I think that's definitely useful. I think you definitely should consider it, especially to resensitize yourself to heavier strength loads. So yes, is it useful to increase your 1 rep max? If you're a novice or intermediate lifter, yes. But if you're an advanced lifter, doing sets of, say, 8 isn't going to be the most potent thing to improve your 1 rep max, although it will still help. I absolutely toasted my legs a few days ago, and that video is out on YouTube, but they're still sore. And so I don't know how powerful I'll be today, but I have to redeem myself, so we should be all right. 360 for sets of 5. I think easily accomplishable, not very comfortable, is how I'll categorize that.
Question here from Jason: what's your goal weight in the deadlift at Arnold's?
It's not really like that. It's just accumulating points. So I'd want to be no lower than 3rd. Thor and Trey, I would imagine, are going to be 1st and 2nd. That being said, if one of those guys misses their 3rd attempt, I want to be in a position to have jumped them on my 3rd, and depending how their attempts go, but it would be great to hit over 1,000. I believe that I can. I believe that next week will be a great indication, and that will definitely show people and prove to myself that I can do it. But I am so much stronger right now than I was 2 years ago when I pulled 445. And at that time, I probably had 450 in the tank. So I should be 460, 465 at complete max out.
And then next question is exercises to increase deadlift strength off the floor. If I feel a deadlift, it's because it doesn't need to come off the ground.
Squats. You got to get stronger legs. Simple as that. To increase deadlift strength off of the floor, the first motion is a leg press. The second motion is a back extension. Get stronger at leg pressing and squatting, and you should see your deadlift skyrocket.
I have been using your deadlift program to prepare for a max axle deadlift for competition. What is your recommendation for warming up on competition day? I'm planning on an opener at 700 pounds.
That's a good opener. I would 100% recommend don't do anything that you haven't already done preparing for it. So in your last heavy sessions, pay attention to those jumps and what those jumps normally are and how much time those jumps normally take you. There's a massive problem in strength sports of warming up too early of doing additional sets on your additional warm-up sets on competition day, which is just not necessary. So just stick to normal. What I do, it's like a 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate, 5 plate, up until I choose my final weight. If you're lifting 700 pounds, that's 320, 317 kilos. My last warm-up lift would probably be in the 280 to 290 range. So low mid 600s is probably what I would finish with, but getting there, just stick with your routine.
This one's from Joe Rogers. Thanks for all the work you and the team do. Did you ever have issues with body image going from a runner to a strongman?
I've had body image issues my whole life, pretty much. Even before I did my bodybuilding show, when I was lean, I still felt like I was too fat. And that's been something for pretty much my whole life. To be honest, the thing that changed it was becoming a dad. Not like dad bod vibes, but up until you have a kid, you are the most important person to yourself. And you can say that other people are and whatever, but ultimately, your job is to take care of you and your feelings. When you introduce someone else, something else into the picture, are we back? Okay. Just say body image issues, they evaporated when I had a kid because ultimately now I have someone else's feelings to be responsible for, well, in a way. But certainly someone else who's more important and something else that's more important. So I can't imagine dedicating time, care, and energy to how I look. Like I feel like be healthy, be reasonably healthy, be active, set a good example. But like if your belly isn't as tight as you want it or something, there's just nothing I could imagine caring enough about for that to trump the actually important things. Which, by the way, does include health. That is probably more on my mind than my body image these days. All right, so this is 4:45. Just over halfway. Warm-ups. It's really annoying being strong sometimes. I'd love just to get in a couple warm-ups and get into it.
I will test my deadlift 1 round max in 3 weeks. I will lift 230 kilograms. I failed it 2 times last year. I always get stuck by the knees. Any suggestions? You're too hungry. The beard is great.
Hungry. At the knee in conventional deadlift is the most common place to fail. It's the transition between that leg press and the back extension. And obviously you can't hitch until it's above the knee. So the more power you can generate off the floor, the better off you're going to be. Now, it really depends on you because sometimes a little bit of back rounding can actually make you better and more powerful off the floor to blow through that sticking point. Sometimes losing your form off the ground results in bigger problems. All right, 445 and 90, 535.
This one here, will you continue to do YouTube after you retire from strongman?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I have plans to do more YouTube after I retire from strongman, not less. There's so many things that I want to do that, for lack of a better word, training gets in the way of. So yes, I can't wait for that.
So super chat, if you decide to break the deadlift world record, are you planning to gain weight?
If I go to break the deadlift world record, I probably won't bother to put on too much weight. I don't think it's necessary for me. And sometimes putting on weight actually hinders your deadlift because you'll get a larger torso and you might not be able to get into the same position. Then you have to start changing your technique, et cetera, et cetera. So probably not. I sit around 325 to 330 when I compete, and maximum maybe 335, 340, but probably not.
Next one is how/where can I get those Cerberus weights in the US? And they are sold out everywhere.
If the Cerberus weights are sold out, they're sold out. Not a whole lot I could do about that, unfortunately. But when they come back in stock, I'm sure you can. But in the meantime, why don't you grab some Rogue plates? You might as well. They're in stock, and they are fantastic. If you go into Rogue as well, you can get like packages of weights. And so you can get I know on the calibrated side, you can get like a 350 or a 550 kilo set, and that knocks down the cost considerably. I'm sure they do similar stuff on the cast iron side as well. All right, we've got 445 and 180, 545, 625. We are getting up there. All right, here we go. Very nice. Feeling pretty good.
So this one, if a fan meets you, to them that is a very memorable moment. To you, it's understandably another fan. What makes the interaction memorable?
Ooh, what a great question. What makes it memorable? A couple of things. Kids make them very memorable. So I always love seeing kids. I think if someone takes the time to actually share something with you, it's a total misnomer in meet and greets that I would prefer people to be as quick as possible and just get in and get out. like, I like to learn something about someone or hear about their exercise journey or something a little bit more meaningful than just a handshake and a picture. You know, I'll get asked for deadlift tips or overhead press tips or whatever. That doesn't resonate with me, and I'm happy to talk about it and give advice and whatever, but that doesn't resonate me as much as like someone telling me that they're a mom or a dad and they're trying to manage their training and what are the tips there. Something where it's more about life than it is about lifting. That's what gets me happiest, because ultimately helping someone in that capacity, or even just sharing stories back and forth in that capacity, I don't purport to be an expert on life. That's stuff I really enjoy.
So this one from Alex, would you recommend a soft or hard belt for deadlift, squat, etc. and grip work? I work mainly in the 5 to 8 range, not going under 3 or max.
I'd recommend stacking both. That's what I always do, as I'm doing today. I love it. The amount of support is just so different when you have both. The soft belt also stops any pinching that can happen from the hard belt. And so I am a huge proponent of stacking them on top of each other. Okay, we got 715, so about, I don't remember how many kilos. 715 is about 325 kilos or so. Wish me luck.
So this super chat from Leonard. Any advice on strength loss while losing weight? I've lost 45 pounds, another 1 week ago. Strength is dropping, and I know it can go down.
Accept it a little bit, honestly. It's going to go down for a variety of reasons. One will be losing muscle, and I know that's probably on the forefront of your mind. But another one of those is changing technique, and how your weight is distributed on yourself is going to change how you move. Presumably, you're losing a lot of weight to be healthy. So worry about that first. Focus on being healthy, focus on taking care of yourself, and put that as a priority for right now. When you get down, then it's time to start getting back to being strong. The best advice I can give, though, is in the interim, anytime you're looking to substantially change your body weight, you should be training with higher training volumes. That way, we have, one, assistance for weight loss to some small degree, although relatively meaningless. Little myth, exercise doesn't really help you lose weight, according to the research. It's sort of balanced out with change in appetite unless you do huge amounts of cardio. So focus on higher volume training, because that's going to cause more stimulus to retain your muscle, and then worry about using that muscle to become strong later. Low rep ranges strength work is not going to be very potent in stopping you from muscle wasting from a mechanical perspective. All right, so let's figure out what I got to put on this bar here. Gonna get to 800. So we're at 445. No, we're at 315 plus 400, so 715. So I need 85 pounds. I need 42 pounds a side. So if we go 25 and 15, that's pretty close. Jace, back in action. Thanks, dude. Hope you're doing well. If you guys haven't checked out Jace's channel, he does some strongman coverage. Go ahead and subscribe to him. While you're at it, subscribe to me. If you're watching this video and you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. We also have the membership button up at the top. We are adding a whole bunch of stuff there, and we're starting an exercise library literally shooting stuff for it this afternoon where you're going to start to see my 2 or 3 minute breakdown on every single movement, and you'll have that resource as a library available to you if you go over and join the member side.
And then a super chat here from Jace as well. How many times has a heavy deadlift caused your nose to bleed? How many times have you passed out?
From heavy deadlifts, I've probably had my nose bleed not that much, maybe 6 times. The most concerning was a heavy yoke. I had my ear bleed. That was weird. How many times have I passed out? 0. Not once. I have genetically high blood pressure, and that presumably stops me from passing out. All right, we're up at working weight now. And we got 2 sets of 5. I think I was doing pause deadlifts at this weight after a really heavy one last week or 2 weeks ago. It would have been last week on the live stream. So I was doing sets of 3. I imagine this shouldn't be too bad. And maybe in set number 2, I could bump up just a little bit. Although I am trying to manage my fatigue at the moment. I am getting pretty fatigued as per my session last live stream. So maybe I'll just stick here and make it move as easy as I can. I would love to know from you guys, though, what kind of questions do you have for Luke? Luke's going to be here with me. Richardson, that is. He's going to be with me all of next week. We have a couple of live streams, but it'd be good to know what kind of stuff you guys want to see, what kind of stuff you guys want us to do. We got lots of stuff planned. We're going to do a Canadian strongman diet, where I'm going to make him eat the most Canadian foods to fit it into strongman macros, which I think that'll be a fun video.
Law says make it move easy watching.
Well, since he's watching, he should be so impressed with how restrained I could be after this set if it moves easy to just do it again. Do you want to get this for a short form? Good. Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful. That feels about appropriate. It's a cool feeling. And this bar actually hits really funny. I would actually say it's not too far off the elephant bar. You sort of get the slack, then it hits you. But thinking about a normal day with sore legs, that I could rep out 360 or 800 pounds for 10 if I wanted to is a cool thought. I've gotten so much stronger in so many ways over the past couple of years. And not every session is a 1 rep max PR, but you often got to take these little things where 2 years ago, I might have been able to do 360 for 5 once as a max out. And if I cranked on my suit as hard as possible, I might be able to pull 470. But now I pull 470 on a whim. I can deadlift for 5 this on a whim, and my body becomes more robust, more resilient, increases strength capacity over time as well. So this is really good step forward. Wow, we have 920 people on. Wow, a lot of people care. I'll share something with you guys that I talk about on occasion. People really don't believe me all that much when I talk about having social challenges when I was younger. The prospect of talking to 900 people at once in any capacity 5 years ago, 6 years ago, would have been one of the hardest things for me to imagine. Would have been near impossible for me not to have a panic attack. Even one-on-one conversations with strangers would take me there. But just like training, the best thing I ever did was just let it annoy me more that it wasn't a strength of mine than the fear of not tackling that. It's really the only way to get over anything is just do it. But 900 plus on here. Thank you very much to all of you. If all of you like the video, maybe we could get 900 more.
Someone asked how you overcome it.
Overcome what?
Your fear of talking to more people.
A couple of things. One is exposure, doing it as much as possible. The second is realizing that any social anxiety is inherently selfish because you're so focused on you and how are you being perceived and what are you looking like and you sounding like and you. And if you start thinking, well, my goal for this isn't that as many people possible watch me for the sake of watching me for my ego. It's that hopefully you guys could see generally how I train. You can then take something away maybe for your training, can ask a question and learn something. So as much as it's a symbiotic relationship and I get stuff from you guys watching the live stream, of course, and engaging with YouTube, my goal is actually in trying to help you guys. So if I'm in my own head, I'm not really helping you too much. And so I want to focus on the questions you ask. How can I provide value to you? How can I make it enjoyable for you? How can you get something away from it? And that was a major flip for me, that anytime you're feeling socially anxious, it's because you're being too obsessed with yourself.
So the super chat, how can I prevent tailbone pain in my deadlift?
What's the name?
George Osborne.
George, just take it easy the night before, man. I've heard this a couple of times, and there are some external rotators of the hip that attach towards the tailbone, but I can't fully wrap my head around why tailbone pain is a common thing. By the time you actually get down to the proper tailbone, we really don't have nerves running out of there anymore. So it's not really even that. Honestly, dude, I wish I could tell you, but without assessing you and your hip mobility and what causes the pain, what exacerbates the pain, it's really hard for me to give proper advice. Although it is very common. So if someone else has had this and just has a good catch-all recommendation, happy to hear it out. You'll probably get told by anyone you go see, work on your glutes and work on your hip mobility and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to lie to you and say that I think that's a good solution. That's just the solution that you'll be told to do. You could try it and see how it goes. But ultimately, for me, a lot of the time it comes back down to programming. And are we asking too much of ourselves based on our capacity? And if so, maybe that's the first place to try to correct. All right. Set 2. Before I do set 2 of these, can I just look at the first one? Just see if there's anything technically I want to adjust. By the way, I'm not in horrible shape, and that's not why I'm out of breath so much. This basement has turned into a little inferno. We're trying to work on our HVAC situation, which is apparently complicated. I'm not sure how, but apparently it is.
Hot.
Okay. One thing that I definitely feel with this bar is if I'm not starting it in the right spot, it throws me out of position a bit. So I'm looking here, I see rep 3 was a bit slow off the floor for that reason. Rep 4 was better. And rep 5 is a bit off as well. So takeaway is going to be just try to keep the bar ever so slightly closer and try to keep it smooth all the way through. Another set of 5 at 800.
Hello from a member from Bulgaria. I appreciate your message and it is resonating in the world.
Very nice. Oh, that was probably up at about 8.5, 9. I had 2 more reps at max there. You'll notice, deadlift for reps, I always give the advice of breathing at the top, and that's going to get you the most out of your deadlift. And that's true. But when you're training, you got to think, what are you training for? And I'm training for a max lift. So it doesn't do me a lot of good to stand up, get used to bracing at the top, and rely on that stiffness and power. That's why I'm dropping it, rolling it away, pulling it back. It's actually designed to make this harder for me, not easier to replicate, almost like a cluster set of 5 singles rather than a set of 5 where you're rebracing at the top, which, by the way, makes the lift way easier, like not even close. So something for you to take away as well.
Super chat here from Simon. Hi guys, got my first strongman competition last year as a novice.
Hey.
Time for open middle weight. Any tips for dropping weight and maintaining strength?
Well, you don't want to be dropping too much weight into show. If you're middleweight, let's say you're in the 105 kilo class. If you're anything over 2%, which would be about 110, you're going to start seeing detrimental effects to your performance. And sure, you get a 24-hour rehydration period, refueling period, that's fine. Your body can't take in as much as you think. And after dieting, you see this in bodybuilders all the time. They'll do a show, compete, gorge on food, and the next day, they don't even have abs. They're like edema filled with water. And you don't want that happening to you when you're trying to compete. So there's people who cut huge amounts and then gorge on food. You never really see that resulting in colossally improved performances. So I would say do your best just to not have to cut as much weight. Stay within 5 kilos of what you need to be. And then you only have to cut out water for half a day and eat lower carbs for half a day. Weigh yourself in, maybe have a bit of a sweat out, and then you should be good to go. At maximum, you might want to take 1 day. But my best advice is definitely be prepared for how your body responds. So do a water cut once or twice well before the show, just to see, are you someone who can drop 3 kilos very easily? Or is that something that requires a bit more effort? And then you can start to plan out your water cut that way. But any changes before a show will more often than not result in negative performance outcomes, not positive. All right, I'm gonna go down to 330 and do a 3x3 paused, I believe. 320, 3x3 pause. Okay. All right, so 700 would be good. So I'll go 715. That'll be 110 pounds less than what I was just doing. That should be pretty manageable. I was doing pause reps 3x3 at 800 last time I was deadlifting a week ago. So this shouldn't be all that hard, even with the increase in volume. Legend. Thank you very much for that. Like I said, we're getting an exercise library going on that, filming this afternoon. Those should start to be edited and uploaded soon. And ultimately, this is going to result in an app down the track. It's going to result in improved programming with the exercise demonstrations attached, because that's one of the biggest questions that I get. And yeah, I'm gonna do something that I think is gonna help a huge number of people. I'm gonna come up with an app that's basically like me coaching you on the spot. So I'll use AI to digest all of my YouTube content, all of my live streams, all of my programs, all of my emails, all the advice that I've ever given. And then it's gonna have the capacity to be able to answer as though it's me. And the exercise library attached will mean you can ask me, you could say, create me a leg day workout for strength. And it'll do that with the exercise demonstrations attached. You have your whole workout set, ready to go. You should be able to say, create a 3-week structure, a 4-week structure to peak me into a powerlifting show. And it should be able to do that with the exercise demonstrations. So of course, this is all in time. There'll be some bugs and things to figure out, but I think that'll be awesome, even for people who already have coaches, to just have something on there immediately that's very cheap, that can give you those really quick answers, like what should my rest times be? I'm feeling sick, should I train? All of those things that maybe you don't want a one-on-one coach to have to be available 24/7. And I know virtually all one-on-one coaches don't want to be available 24/7. So this could be a good way to bridge that gap.
The question from Kobe Lively: what are some of the things you mentioned you want to do on YouTube? What strong is that?
It's a lot of things like collaboration based and going and visiting people and spending considerable time. Also, right now you guys can see I post 5 times a week, and the reason for that is I don't have time to do these like elaborate setups and concepts and go travel somewhere and bring equipment and line X, Y, and Z up. It's just not practical. And so say, instead of releasing 5 videos a week, say we do 2 videos a week, but each of those is like, I go to Toronto, down at one of the public squares, and I bring a squat rack and a squat bar, and if someone can beat me in a squat, they win X, or, complete, every rep you get earns you this, or challenging people to different things, or say collaborating and going to Martine's in LA and shooting content on the beach, and larger concepts. You could do like a scavenger hunt. You could go to LA, you could get Martine's and Larry Wheels and Bradley Martin or whatever, and do like a fitness scavenger hunt and bury weights on the beach, and whoever finds the weight can put it on their bar. At the end, whoever lifts the weight, the most total weight, wins. And so you could find less but squat more reps, and then on and on and on. Anyway, I have tons of concepts in my head that would be fantastic. It's more the time and energy. I wouldn't do like a Martine strength unknown style. I'm not into strength history like he is. I don't have the same passion for it. And I don't like to be on the road that much. It's like traveling to a different country to shoot for, multiple weeks at a time. For me, it's just not great. And it also, you got to understand that on YouTube, every time you post, it's like this mini business investment that you've made. So if one video does bad, well, you've paid someone to make that video, so you've probably lost money on trying to make an entertaining video. So the less you post, the more sure you have to be that each post is going to do well, and you need time and energy to commit to that. So that's why I post more often. It's actually not because I want to work harder and I want to do more. It's because the only way for it to make sense is for me to do it that style, and that style means that the frequency is going to be higher than higher effort stuff. So long-winded explanation, but that's the reason. I find a lot of people get stuck halfway in between on YouTube. You got Greg Dissett, who's like full committed to, I think he releases like 2 or 3 videos a day. And then you've got Will Tennyson, Jesse James West, Brownie, who do all really high effort stuff. But then you've got a lot of people who are a little bit stuck in the middle, and they do some high effort, some talking head, some low effort, some vlog, and then you sort of ostracize all of your individual audiences if that's the case. And so I want to be very consistent and deliberate with what we're doing and how we're doing and what you should expect when you watch one of our videos, and then only pivot that to higher quality videos in the future. And I've got the team ready to go. I've got the people excited and wanting to do that. But for the time being, this is where we're at. All right. So we got about 325 on the bar. I'm going to do 3 by 3 seconds. And the goal, just like last week, 2-second pauses just off the ground to reinforce that position. With how easy the first couple of reps at 360 moved, makes me pretty optimistic about next week, because I know, based on how things are moving, I know that one more play added on to that wouldn't slow me down all that much. One more play added on to that is probably close to a max out. So 440 plus is likely on the cards next week, although my coach is watching, so I have to behave myself. Interesting. I did 360 for reps at the Arnold, actually. Arnold UK 2024 archives. See what I did in competition. I did 8 at 350. So 10 kilos less, 3 reps more. That's a pretty good prospect. I could absolutely have done 8 at 360 today. And that was without even bracing at the top. These are these little wins that I'm talking about. Whilst you might have one bad split jerk session, you can almost very easily, if you put in consistent effort, look to a slightly different area and go, okay, I'm making great progress, generally speaking, with just a couple of things to clean up. All right. Set of 3.
Ian says, love the procrastination, LOL.
Ian, fuck you. Is that Ian? Our Ian?
Yeah. You would hope so.
Wow. Easy work. Go for it.
I mentioned in Holland at age 29 already cemented yourself in stronger history. How do you stay hungry and motivated with pressure?
Pressure's overrated. It's sort of just what you put on yourself. So I'll win again. I'll lose again. It will all come. And you just have to be okay with that. It's just, if you get yourself into a game or a job where the public is going to see you win and lose, you just can't avoid it. You just got to face that and accept it. And at this point, I've proven everything, literally everything. My deadlift is good. My overhead's good. My grip's good. My moving is fast. My capacity is high. I can throw weights. I can lift heavy. I can lift light. I can do lots of events. I can do a few events. So at this stage, there's no self-talk at all other than like, here's the reality. Here's what you've done. And at this stage, I've already done more than I expected to ever in the sport. So I don't feel pressure. If I didn't do anything good for the rest of my career, I've done way more than I ever thought I would. Now, in terms of staying hungry, I hate to lose. And I think the discipline in committing to the process is what there is to be most proud of. And so I'll never stop committing to the process and doing the work that I have to do across the board to become the best that I can be. And if you do that, it really doesn't matter where you shake out. If a bunch of guys turn up and they're in unbelievable shape and I come 5th, well, it's not what I expected. It's not what I hoped for. I'd be disappointed for sure, but it's not like my world is coming crashing down because of it. It's just, you got to go back and get better yourself and continue on the process yourself. And that's really, at this stage, all I'm worried about is me, because it's possible that I'm battling with Thor, that I'm battling with Tom, that I'm battling with Trey or Evan or Lucas, or a collection of all of them. And that's fine. I could think myself into a hole. And I think when I was competing and I was maybe going to win, or I was okay, or I was trying to figure out how to get to the podium, the projections meant a lot more to me, because I was able to sort of see where I can make points on people and lose points on people. And then sometimes it was shaky, like, oh, I think I could win. Where at this stage, like, I know I can win. I know it's possible if I do what I can do. So the focus almost becomes less on how can I gain points here and here and here. It's how can I just maximize my points in every event? And then halfway through the show, you can start looking at all the other guys and what they can do or might not be able to do or whatever. So, I've won shows out in front the whole time. I've won shows before the last event. I've underperformed on the last couple of events and lost shows. I've started from way back and got back onto the podium. there's nothing left to prove to myself or to anyone else other than I can continue sticking to my process.
And then we have a programming question from Matthias. I've done your powerlifting program and am currently doing the commercial gym strongman program. Made great progress so far. Which of your programs would you recommend doing next?
I was reading a text from Lars. I'm sorry. Let me answer this properly. Go again.
I've done your powerlifting program and am currently doing the commercial gym strongman program. Made great progress so far. Which of your programs would you recommend doing next?
It's a good question. So he's done commercial gym strongman, and he started with powerlifting. Okay. To round this out, we've gone powerlifting, commercial gym. I would go to something hypertrophy based, and then you've got a really good balance. That's probably the next thing to expose is something away from strength. So I have muscle building programs. We've got the first one, the second one, and them bundled together. So depending on how much you want there, how much time you want covered, how much you want to learn about that area of training, that would definitely be the place I would recommend you go to.
Deadlift with socks versus barefoot or shoes?
Shoes are fine if you have the right shoes. When I wear shoes, I wear the Teardrop Zeros. It's like a really nice, just flat shoe. That would be my recommendation. But oftentimes socks are okay. The exception to that is if the floor is wet for any reason or slippery for any reason, or you're not sure. I know my floor. I know I can deadlift in socks, no problem. So I don't worry about it too much here. But on a competition floor, particularly if it's a floor I haven't lifted on before, that's where shoes become useful. You notice I wore them at the Rogue Invitational in 2023 on the Tower of Power deadlift because I didn't know what deadlifting on the wood sort of built platform was going to be like and if it would be a bit slipperier. The safe bet is to go with a flat shoe. You lose nothing and you gain grip, but if you're confident in the floor you're lifting on, socks can work fine. That 1 liter blender bottle kicks ass, by the way.
We have a lineup of super chats here, but we can get
Go for it.
this one from Alex. Can I get a good luck and get any last minute advice for my first novice comp tomorrow?
Oh, man. First piece of advice, lift heavy, be kind. But really, first novice comp, don't worry about your performance or winning or whatever. Worry about your effort and worry about contributing to the community. If you're going to be a world's strongest man, you will win your first novice show without trying. Most people aren't going to be that, and that's totally fine. We got to have more reverence for the participation side and participating in the community, and not have this expectation that everyone needs to be a state champion, a world record holder. You can just participate in this and enjoy yourself and become stronger. So worry about that. And if you can worry about that, trying hard and being a part of the community, then that's a win. But good luck. Go have fun. Hopefully you shake out to be that person who can crush it. But regardless, crushing it is personal. And that could just be getting out there and giving it your best.
Next super is from Jace. What is your fastest 40-meter time ever?
That's a good question. My fastest lasered was 5.2, but that was in grade 11. I've done the 3-cone shuttle, and I forget my time, but it was the year that Aiden Hutchinson got drafted, so I think it was 2 years ago. And I was the second fastest of the defensive lineman times next to him. Of course, at about 80 pounds, maybe 70 pounds heavier. I imagine I could run a 40 in 4.7 right now. And if I lost 30 or 40 pounds, then maybe 4.5. I'm fast. I'm faster than you think. Yeah, I wish I liked football more because I think I could have gone pretty far. I just didn't really enjoy it.
And then this one's from Ian McCrae. Do you still rock the Airwave mouthpiece?
I do, and it just depends where and what time of season it is. So you won't see me training in it all the time. In fact, it's probably time to start throwing it in now. It's almost like when I am ready to hit my biggest weights to get that little bit extra, then I'll chuck it in. So I use it in that capacity. If I want an extra couple of percent, I'll throw it in. But making training slightly harder than a competition day is certainly something that I find to be important. So that's why you don't see it in today, because if I put it in, then maybe instead of 360, maybe I'm doing 370 or 375. That I got to understand the sympathetic load that's going to have on my body and accumulating over time. So yes, I do wear it in every single competition, every single lift that really matters. You'll see it, i.e. next Friday on my deadlift PB on the members only live. But general training sessions, when I want to limit the sympathetic fatigue, I won't leave it in. That being said, most people aren't so close to their genetic capacity that you can use it all the time, get that little bit extra out of your training, and it will benefit you.
Super from Paul Mason. Tips for purging the system before a heavy squat day.
A bit of coffee, lots of water, and throw in the squat plug. Simple as that. I'm gonna get ready for my last one here. Almost felt like my strap was breaking there. I find I learned so much from pause deadlifts. So like, you'll notice in the last couple compared to the first couple, they popped off the floor way better. And that was cue of contracting triceps, reaching the hands down and the arms down as far as possible. It's just those little things can put your body in a slightly different position. Just blow up the lift that you're doing. So I think that last one probably popped off the ground easier and more powerful than any other lift. So now I know next week I carry that forward, contract the triceps, reach down, find that position. And I'll try to find that position in warm-ups. So up to my maximum weight, I know where I need to be.
What would you look for in a hardened belt?
Great question. I would look for mine coming out soon. Depends who you are, how big you are. But if you're a man over, say, 5'10", I've got a product for you, and it's this guy. So this belt is actually slightly wider this direction than other belts. All other belts are made to IPF standards, which they don't need to be because we're strongman. But SBD has most of the market in powerlifting, and everyone else has just followed suit. So I asked Cerberus if we could make one slightly wider and offer that to the public, because if you look at, say, someone who's 5'5", they get this belt covering them literally from rib cage to pelvis. And the amount of intra-abdominal pressure that they could create and the stiffness they could create would be way in excess of what a taller person would be able to with a belt that only covers a portion of their midsection. And so having this belt, I believe it's a 1/2 inch wider, has made a massive difference for me. So this is our next product we're coming out. We started with the soft belt, which if you haven't seen that yet, I back it massively. It is different than any soft belts on the market at the moment. It's stiffer than any other soft belts on the market. Not so stiff that you can't wear it for moving events and stuff like that, but stiffer and more supportive than other belts, coming from the straps, not from the neoprene. So that stiffness is going to hold for a long time. All right, I got to get ready to go for frame carry. We're going up 340 kilo, 2 by 10 seconds. Throw in your super chats in the meantime, and I'll get back to them momentarily. How many do we have on right now?
700.
Nice. Deadlifts take a lot out of your nervous system. Do we have any comments to chat about? I'll unplug it. Yeah. Yeah.
This is from Jumping Scuba Ski Josh.
Yeah.
Started working out with my teenage son who loves it all except deadlifting. I want him to enjoy his workouts at this point, but exercise would replace deadlifts to keep him excited.
How old is the son?
It doesn't say. Teenage son.
Teenage. As a teenager, if he doesn't like it, don't do it. Simple as that. Don't replace it with anything. If he's squatting, cool. Like, there's no inherent, like, you must do this at this age, learn it and whatever. Eventually he will grow to learn things, but potentially he just feels vulnerable or like he could get injured or whatever it is. But squats and deadlifts, broad strokes, use pretty much the same muscles, so don't really worry about it. And focus on things that he enjoys, because ultimately him just being in the gym on a regular basis is going to get him in a really healthy position long term, even if he never does a deadlift in his life. And like I could tell you, like, do trap bars like I'm doing now, which is all fine and dandy, but like I can squat this or I can deadlift this, depending on what movement pattern I choose. And so that's not even necessarily a solution at all. It's more just a workaround. So don't worry about it. Don't stress about him doing everything. Focus on the things that he loves. Make sure he does them well. Teach him how to progress them, and he'll be off to the races. But what a big win. Being able to train and bond with your son and spend that quality time away from all of the meaninglessness of TV and social media and whatever. All right, this is 200, 290. We'll go 380. Working up to about 700 today, for those who are just jumping on the live stream. But 700 pounds, 700, around 750. I'll do that for some 10-second holds, and should be pretty manageable. Well, Peyton is coming up on a year old, but so she doesn't watch full shows really, but I have grown to love Bluey because if we do, no matter what mood she's in, if we go and then when you take a break where it says like the characters' names in the show, immediately she'll just like smile like, and then she's growing now. Have you seen this yet, Leash?
No.
We'll do it. We'll pause, and then her like consistent word is dada. It's like we'll do it, dada, and she'll go dada. Oh, it's like pulls your heart out. It's so beautiful. All right, so we've got 200 and 270. We've got 470. Over halfway there. Easy.
So this next favorite chat is from Dalton Mason. Just wanted to give you a shout out for your clinic. So last year we had asked him was life-changing, and now I've got a friend and my mom signed up. Yeah,
I've heard about your referrals, Dalton. I'm glad that it's helped you. Most people watching this stream wouldn't know that I my whole love for exercise on a professional basis, it started strength and conditioning for a brief period, and then it's gone to exercise as medicine. And the reason that I actually got started in strength sports in the first place was because if I was going to exercise people with injuries and chronic conditions, and I've always been active, well, it's kind of hard for you to say like, oh, I know where you're coming from or relate to them in any meaningful way. And so I thought, oh, I'll do a whole bunch of athletic endeavors that replicate the things I'll ask. So you might ask someone to get aerobically fit. So that's why I ran marathons. What does it feel like to get that level of aerobic fitness? That's why I did bodybuilding. What does it feel like to feel depleted and lose a whole bunch of weight? And then what does it feel like to get strong? And this is actually the last one that I went to. And so I went to Australia, picked up strongman, got my education, my master's degree in exercise physiology, came back, opened an exercise as medicine clinic. A week later was World's Strongest Man 2022. I thought it would just be a one-off and go back to work. And strongman's exploded. So it's great to be able to still have that. I still have that clinic in my hometown, Barrie, Ontario. I have plans, absolutely, to expand that past the one location and try to make it an option available to as many people as possible across Canada, across America, potentially over in the UK. But exercising with any sort of unique circumstance where maybe it's a medication, maybe it's a injury, maybe it's a pain, maybe it's a discomfort. But right now we have physiotherapy in Canada anyway. Physiotherapy, which is acute rectification of pain and chronic and acute conditions. Then we have personal trainers who have no education in medications and injuries and whatnot. And granted, they can go off and learn it, but it's not a prerequisite of the profession. And in the middle, we have us, where we know medications, we know injuries, we know injury recoveries, we know chronic conditions. We're able to exercise and give you that. So that was my original love for exercise, why I got into strongman in the first place. So it's not really an afterthought to me. Like the strongman bit is the afterthought. So it's great to be able to keep it going. And seeing that bleed over of people is fantastic as well. So the clinic's called Longevity Nexum. If anyone's interested, we do tons of virtual consults. Dalton is down in Florida, and we see him and a couple of his loved ones as well. Works out really well virtually online. Saves a lot of time on clients' behalf, but it also expands, and everyone on this call could get some help if need be. And frankly, most people on this call probably do need help with some injury or another. It sort of goes with the sport and with heavy lifting. So anyway, Longevity Nexum, Nexum, if anyone wants to go check that out. You can book a free 15-minute consult online just to learn about it, talk about what's going on and see if we can help you. And if we can, then we can start seeing you for proper appointments. And by we, I mean the people who work for me, because it would embarrass me to charge what I would have to charge to make it worth my time to be able to see people on a one-on-one basis, which I see as a bad thing, not a good thing. Like I wish I could still do some of that, but I just have so many other things going on. As you guys know, between the Lift Heavy Be Kind clothing and the coaching and YouTube and social media and sponsors and competing and travel, it's I try not to think too much about all the individual things because it'll drive me crazy. I was saying that one thing I can't wait for, everyone always talks to me about like when you stop working, you're going to go crazy and you're definitely going to start another business, blah, blah, blah. And to those people, I say, wait until you see how much time I can spend in my hot tub and doing absolutely nothing, because you will be impressed and disappointed. All right, this is, I have to do the math every time. 270 and 200 is 570, 670. Ooh, really? 200 and 270 is 470, 570. This is 670. So last warm-up set here. And my fingers are sore again. Laws, I don't know if this is by design, but like pause deadlifts into frame carry. Like I'm trying to do this shit with sore hands. So this is totally on you, mate. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So super chat for Travis. Just wanted to say thank you. Meeting you at the Olympia and talking about your back injury and seeing where you're at now, got me back lifting.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's great. See, these are the types of things. Someone earlier asked what makes a meet and greet memorable. And whilst I don't remember that specific conversation, because people ask me about that stuff all the time, that's, I think, meaningful. What makes a meet and greet meaningful rather than memorable is a better question. And it makes it meaningful if I'm able to help you or you're able to help me or we share something about something that actually matters. And that would certainly be one of those cases. All right, working set. I've got, 2 sets of 10 seconds? Yes, 2 sets of 10 seconds. Do you want to be my timer? All righty. All good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get ready, nod my head, then you say 3, 2, 1, go. When you say go, start the timer. At 10 seconds, just say
10 seconds.
done.
Okay.
I don't know, code word.
3, 2, 1, go. Done.
Easy peasy. Fingers are sore squeezy. You did nail that. That was amazing. Magnus for Magnus, you're done, buddy. Leisha's coming. I'd like to point out quickly that we started this at 12:30. I did a little bit of my warm-up, a little bit of foam or massage gun, a little bit of mobility. We're an hour and a half now, and that was all of my deadlifts where I'm loading and unloading my own plates. So it was what? 2 top sets of 5, 3 back down sets. I've now got 1 frame hold. I'll have the second frame hold done within an hour and a half. I'll do 5 sets on the bike. Might take a bit longer because I'm talking to you guys, but within an hour 45, this is going to be wrapped up. And most of that time is in putting on plates, talking to you guys, whatever. If I wasn't talking to you guys, this workout would be done and wrapped by now. Hour and a half, good, easy. Don't feel like the pros are training for 4 hours a day and actually training that much. It doesn't happen. The only way it might happen is if like I did my first set of deadlifts, went upstairs, had a snack, had a drink, rested a bit, came down for pause deadlifts, and you sort of intentionally drag out the session for a bit more recovery. But you don't have to go over the top to get the most out of yourself.
Super chat just came in from Alfredo Hernandez. I learned deadlift from a Canadian soldier in Afghanistan in 2009. What do you do when you get mentally exhausted from lifting? Break/change routine?
Can I just say something about being at war? I don't understand it at all. You know, like you'll see guys in like these really shitty tents, but then you'll hear stories about people like training with barbells and going to the movies and stuff. It makes no sense to me. Of course, like there's a wide breadth, but I don't, you know what I mean? It's so, like, do they set up a full gym with barbells and stuff? And they're just like, okay, well, we'll be at war for 5 years, so we might as well get some stuff going here. Anyway, boredom from lifting. Ultimately, you're going to get bored when you don't have solid goals and foundations. If you're not really chasing anything and you don't really know where you're headed, you're not following a structure, there's no meat coming up, there's no incentive. You got to have the carrot. I've found that's the most successful for people. So you got to create your carrot. Once you create that for lifting and say it's a powerlifting meet, or just like you're doing it in your basement and I want to lift 600 pounds by X day and here's the program I'm going to follow, whatever it may be. then just pivot and go to something else. Go do a high rocks and create yourself a goal for that. Ultimately, like if you're bored of lifting, you're not going to continue to progress. Like you got to want to do it too bad to have it be meaningful when you're not fully into it. So if you're not fully into it, just stop and go do something else. Give yourself a mental break. Focus on running, focus on CrossFit, focus on Olympic lifting, focus on some other element, and then go back to it. For me, that's why I quit powerlifting so quickly and why I transitioned to strongman, because I find that there's enough variety that it keeps me really interested and engaged. And so even say something like the big jerk, or how I learned to split jerk for the axle world record last year. Honestly, could I have just gotten my triceps a bit stronger and done it? Like, yeah, probably. I didn't have a good split jerk, but part of it is like, well, I'm doing this for a little while longer, so let's learn some new skills. Let's try some new stuff. Let's introduce that variety for a bit of fun. And then when you do, you have something new to focus on and get excited about. You also have to recognize law of diminishing returns. It means that when you pick something new up, you're going to start improving at it really quickly. And rate of improvement is one of these things that contributes significantly to adherence. And so if you can improve quickly at something you haven't tried much, it's something that's going to be pretty exciting to you in the short term. All right. All right, same thing. I'm just going to do some marches. Not to pretend that I'm a soldier, but to mimic the frame carry at the Arnold. I don't want to culturally appropriate being a soldier, because I'm not. I have so much respect and reverence for them, because, for people who go to war, because if Canada was at war, and yeah, call me a coward all you want. If Canada was at war and they were coming to my neighborhood, me and my family are getting in the Tesla and we are beelining it away to wherever safe ground is. I am absolutely not a soldier. All right. You got me again? My hands are really sore. That was just a FYI. Changes nothing, unfortunately. I wish it did. All right.
2, 1, go.
It's really bizarre not moving.
This is funny. Super chat from Elton. Talked to the guy the other day. He was asking what I bench. He asked me how much I squatted. Bet you can't guess what I was wearing.
Do you know the context of that? Dalton loves the 3-inch shorts. Loves them. Which, who can blame them? They are golden. Oh. I just want to confirm weight here. Cool. Perfect. All right. Bit of unloading action, and then we are off to the bike. It's funny, this trap bar, like a trap bar is not a frame. And moving with a frame is so much easier because the trap bar has no resistance to tilting back and forth. And since all the weight is distributed and very little is in the frame, as soon as you move, the inertia is way greater. Frame stays way more steady. So that I actually feel is harder to move than a 400 kilo frame.
Very strong in legs. I don't have a strong can I prep for throwing technique and angle?
Okay. Well, technique is going to come with a lot of practice. And regardless of what you're throwing, whether it's a sandbag or a keg, you can commandeer one. So get one. And then for angle, when you throw, it's on a parabola. So say I throw something here and it lands at that monster dumbbell. I know the apex is halfway between me and the monster dumbbell. And so figure out about how many steps away from the apparatus you're going to want to be. And you can't ask the promoter how far. You're probably going to annoy them, so just don't. But say you're like, okay, well, on show day, I'm going to make sure I'm 3 steps away from the apparatus. That means, say this wall was the apparatus. You want to be 3 steps away. 2, 3. You're going to be throwing from here, back. Okay. Now, to make sure that that's perfect, you take another 3 steps forward, and now it should land at the base of the wall. I recommend not doing this with a wall. I recommend doing this with like a mark on the floor or something. But that's how I warm up for throwing in shows. That's how I train throwing. I don't have a throwing apparatus, so that's my best advice. Warm up the same way you warm up for every other sub-maximal lift. Don't overthink it. Just do the same number of warm-up sets and reps, and that's it. Nothing special. Always special things work against you. The quicker you internalize that, the better off you'll be and the less stress you're going to have. I'm excited to see Luke tomorrow. Did we get any comments about what people want to see with him? Oh, pillow talk. Yeah, we could. It was so funny. I actually, like, over time, I'm like, the thought is so funny. Like, I think I did that at my first Arnold. And so, like, you're still pretty new, and you're asking dudes to, like, get into bed to shoot YouTube content with you. and they do it. If that's not, like, strongman is not as intimidating as you think it is, if that's not the example you need, I don't know what you need. Hey-o! That, someone clipped that little agility with the right foot. How many people do we have on right now, Leash? 531 people sticking around to watch me do cardio. Y'all suck. Of the 531, how many of you do your cardio? All right.
Someone goes, and you're on Twitch as well.
And I'm on Twitch. We are everywhere. We're trying to be everywhere. Yeah. Honestly, people think that the operation is much bigger than it is because everyone who works for me is so productive. We've got the whole team. This is the whole team. I've got Alicia, who does social media stuff. I've got my guy, Ian, who shoots videos. He also edits them, YouTube. I've got Quinn, who does all the marketing for all of the brands and for all of our sponsors. I've got Cassie, my sister, who runs the clothing brand. And then I've got Kate, who is my assistant, who helps me with all of the inevitable overflow from my life. And that's the entire team. That's all Moose Coaching. That's all LHBK. Right now, we don't have a single thing contracted out. So it's a massive endeavor for everything you guys see going out and how many things that are going on. What do we think? Alicia, I could run or I could bike? Neither. Definitely neither.
Bike we can move into, I guess we can angle this stuff.
You could turn it, but we'll let the people vote. Go ahead and comment whether you'd like biking or running today.
And then I have a super chat here from Josh. Since you were diving into tech, have you considered collab with Linus Tech Tips, Nerd Sports, if you can get Hawk Fitness athlete?
I don't even know who that is, so I haven't thought of it, but I'm not against it. It's amazing, actually, the number of YouTube channels who have like 1 million plus who you've never heard of. Like, I'll be at 400,000 in the next couple of days. And like the number of people who have no idea who I am is remarkable. To be that big and that popular, but still a relative nobody is wild. Yeah, I feel like to be like day-to-day famous from YouTube, you must need like 5 million plus subscribers. But even then, like, I still don't think people really care. They just like to watch the content. It's like someone said this morning in our morning meeting that YouTube is the new like movie star. And I think that's true. But the difference is I think people aren't as like over the top about it, which is much appreciated because I never sought out to be famous or any of that. I don't know. So it's back to my decision, is it?
Someone said burpees. So, okay. Yeah.
No common thread. Okay. All right. I get it is totally not realistic for the vast majority of people, but for the minority of people who have the space and can make it work, a home gym is like the best thing on the planet. All right. All right. One down, 4 to go.
So it's super chat here from Paul asking, Arnold, can you say the shirt and Matt McGill is for strong and pop tomorrow? Any last words of advice?
Matt, go have fun. Enjoy yourself. Don't lose because you didn't try enough. And if you tried enough and you tried your best, let the results lie where they will. Learn what you have to learn. Engage with the community. And of course, lift heavy and be kind. But good luck, mate. I did a podcast with Bromley yesterday, and I never really thought about it, but in the intro, he said something about me being all over the algorithms. I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess if you're into strongman, it would be really hard to not see our stuff everywhere. Oh, what a bad time to ask. I say don't do it, but a lot of ways you could use it. If you can use it after meals, it helps with digestion massively. So it's a big learning I have from stand efforting. In terms of improving aerobic fitness, it's total weekly volume, not necessarily intensity. So if you want to be better at running 5K, you could get on this one time for 2.5 hours or 5 times for half an hour, and it really doesn't make much of a difference. If you're trying to get better at strongman and intervals and loading races, something like I'm doing now, 20 to 40 second sprints repeated on incomplete rest is going to be a really good go. All right, round 2. Woo!
Father of 6 years, celebrating planning to bring my 2 younger sons by their booth on Sunday to Arnold.
Nice.
Glad to hear you like seeing kids. I'd love to see you.
Amazing. Well, we'll publicize when I'm at the booth. Sunday is going to be mental. I'll be all over at a whole bunch of booths. But if you're at the Arnold and you're watching, it's very likely that I'll be at the booth after day 1 of competition and after day 2 of competition to do meet and greets and whatnot. So please bring them by. Even if lines, I have to cut a line and I have to leave, 100% of the time, kids get whatever they want and all of the adults have to sadly say goodbye. So yes, please bring the boys to come say hello. That would be phenomenal. I'll share a funny story from yesterday. You like this? So this guy at Walmart who's working there, he gets this can of tomato, must have been tomato sauce. And this old lady gets it. And he gets it from the other end of the aisle. He's like, oh, I found it. Brings it over to her. And she looks at it and she starts going off about how it's the wrong sauce, how this sauce is horrible, how it's liquidy, it's no good, on. Probably 30 seconds. And I'm waiting for this guy because I'm wanting to ask for something else's. And she's continuing to walk past him and past me, continuing to talk about the sauce. And I'm like, why don't you just say thank you for someone who did something for you and move on with your day? And she's like, I'm having a conversation. You can wait till I'm done. And I say, you're not having a conversation. You're just being rude and talking down to somebody. You can leave them alone. Have a nice day. And then she gives me like an up down. And I'm wearing like what I normally wear, like something like this. And she goes, why do you not get dressed before you leave the house? I'm like, nice. All right, I'm gonna go again. Woo! That was a fast one. That sucked.
Super chat from Jace is saying the difference in your physique from when you debuted at World Championships is really incredible. Really confident.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, it's gotten much better over time. I certainly have improved body composition. And people really have a hard time believing that World's Strongest Man 2022, I was about 320. And right now, I'm about 325. Just distributed much better. So, yeah, I've done well to keep my weight down, which is definitely a goal of mine as I go forward in strongman. I don't want to get bigger for a multitude of reasons. Yeah, thanks, brother. I just got the best. I can't talk about what it is, but the best sponsorship offer. Emails are coming through at the moment. I'm so excited. Yeah.
This one's from Dog. What's the best way to train for yoke without one? Squats and potentially having pin squat / squats?
Squats, yes. I would say 6-inch step-ups, really short step-ups with a barbell on your back. That, for me, is the closest to simulating a yoke. But if you have strong legs, and you can train them unilaterally to be strong at end range, and your core is strong enough to squat heavy, you'll probably be pretty good with the yoke. On top of that, I've never seen someone who's a strong squatter and athletic not be good at yoke. I think that's really the only two components that you need. Because you see some strong squatters that are very slow with the yoke. And you see some athletic guys who are not good squatters, who are not very good with the yoke. But you put those two together, it's very rare someone doesn't thrive. I'm thirsty. All right, 2 more of these. Oh, man.
Did we lose it?
Yeah. I got one more.
Super chat from Guy Incognito. Favorite book they made you read in school?
I'm not sure I read a single book they wanted us to read in school, honestly. I was valedictorian in high school, and in Canada, how that works is you need a certain grade average, and then you need a couple of teachers to sign off, one of which has to be an English teacher. English teachers didn't like me because I didn't like English. And so I got like a gym teacher to sign off, of course. Then I went to my English teacher, and she said she wouldn't. She didn't have faith that I would do a good job. I was like, sick, thanks. I got someone else to do it, who was a gym teacher and also an English teacher. So I got 2 gym teachers to sign it. Then it's a popularity contest. People voted for me because they thought I'd say something funny. Anyway, the reason she said no is because when they would assign reading that I didn't want to do, I just knew the game. And so Shakespeare counted, say, for 25% of the course. And she called on me to read it one day. We're like halfway through the book. I was like, oh, I didn't bring my book. And she goes, oh, why not? I said, because I'm not reading. She's like, well, we'll speak after class. We chatted after class. And she was like, you know, this counts for 25% of your grade. I said, yeah, I know that. And you'll zero it if you don't read the book. I said, yeah, I know that. My grades are good enough that I'll pass, even if I don't do it. And so in 17-year-old bravado, I boycotted whatever book I didn't feel like reading. And no worse for wear. The best thing you can learn at school, and I will pass this on to my kids and anyone who will listen to me. Best thing you can learn at school is how to talk to people, how to form relationships, how to respect authority, which I wasn't very good with, but how to make friends, how to work alongside someone, how to disagree with someone politely, how to get in an argument and make up. That stuff is way more important than geography or history or any of that. Save that for university, which is also somewhat useless, to be honest. But save it for university and for your adult life. But the interpersonal skills, that's what school could teach you best. And that's a big regret of mine that I didn't use that to my full advantage in high school, because mostly I just wanted to play sports.
When's your next attempt at a deadlift PR?
Oh, thank you for asking. It's in 7 days' time on a members only live. So if you haven't joined up to become a member yet, the membership link is pinned in the comments. I'll be doing that with Luke Richardson. It'll be definitely a training PR. Whether it's an all-time PR or not, we'll see. I'll see what I get clearance from Laws to do. My best with a deadlift bar, normal plates, is 445 kilos. I did that at Rogue, and that would be about 980, a little bit more maybe. So maybe I will surpass that, maybe a little bit less, but regardless, training PR nonetheless, because my heaviest deadlift ever in training is 430. And I know I'm good for more than that right now, for sure. Catch my breath for 5 calories, and then I'm good for one more if you have it.
So this one factory stage. Would like to hear your program recommendations for deadlifting and squatting twice per week. The second day of movement practice is something that I need.
I wouldn't deadlift and squat twice a week. That's just too much. Normally you can get away with 1 deadlift and 2 squat maximum. Even still, depending on your strength level, it could be overshooting it. So I would reevaluate why you feel you need to deadlift and squat twice a week. Maybe in one session, you can deadlift and squat together. And in the second session, you can focus on all of those accessories. But I don't think full proper deadlifts and squats would be the go. You know, accessories being, you know, an RDL, a front squat, a safety bar squat, whatever, but you wouldn't want to go super intense, literally twice a week on deadlift and twice a week on squats. Even at my craziest, I don't think I attempted that. You'd burn pretty fast, I'd imagine. one more.
So this one's from Chris. With the Atlas stone on the shoulder and using the metal stone in the gym, what are your tips and cues anything for Taculus Atlas stones?
Just work on the squeeze. The metal stone at your gym, assuming they don't allow you to put tacky on it. If you can get good at stones without tacky, you'll be great at stones with tacky. So I would recommend do a lot without tacky. Work on that squeeze. And then when you're extending the stone up your body, it's as much about getting your hips under the stone as it is rolling the stone up your body. So think about getting onto your toes and pulling the stone sort of into your stomach as you get onto your toes, and it should roll up your body like a log press. All right. Oh man, that's tough.
You said leg press helps with deadlift strength off the floor. Does foot position on the leg press matter, like going higher or lower?
Yeah. In terms of high, low, neutral for sure. But then deadlift stance leg press. And don't get overly obsessed with your depth. So if you think about your leg angle in a deadlift, it's not that deep in squat terms. And so, you think you might be here deadlifting, but like you're not even at 90. So if you get to 90 on a leg press, that's more than enough if the focus is to improve your deadlift. All right, let's do super chats. Then I got to get some drinks in me.
Dalton here from Dalton Mason. He's looking solid, by the way. Maybe your beard will get as long as mine by the time I quad. So it's going to be
Maybe. I think I'll keep it pretty close to the face. I got to learn beard trimming tactics, but I don't think I'm going to grow it like long and off of myself. But I'm happy with how it's shaping up. So thank you very much. I noticed when I watched my deadlift back, I got to shave my head. I've got such a solid Julius Caesar chrome dome happening when my hair grows out at all. So I'll be going and doing that as well now.
And then a super chat from Arnold address. When someone has a DDD, should you stop lifting? So degenerative disc disease.
No. There's levels to all this, but lifting does not degenerate your tissues. Lifting stimulates regeneration of your tissues. So could you be more susceptible to back pain? Sure. But just programming intelligently around that is the most important. And not to turn your super chat into a plug, but that's what we do at the clinic. Longevity Nexum, if you Google it, you can book an appointment online for free just to have a chat. And if you lift safely, that's the key to you being healthier. When you have a chronic condition though, the double-edged sword is lifting improperly can also be the recipe to get yourself hurt longer. And so it's a non-answer in the answer, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of direction, a little bit of comfort. Best example, how could you make degenerative disc disease worse with, say, a feet up bench press? Like you could do that to maximum. It's doing nothing to your spine. It's totally fine, but you're still getting stronger. All the way up to, well, what do deadlifts feel like? What does a squat feel like? And ultimately, if you're intelligent about it, you progress it appropriately. You see how it feels. You let yourself recover. It can make you more robust and resilient over time. Amazing. Okay, well, we've been on for a little over 2 hours. Thank you to everyone who's stuck around so long. It means the world that you guys want to be here and watch this and want to listen to the messages of lifting and being safe and being healthy, lifting heavy and being kind. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed to the channel, at a minimum, please head over and do that. Super easy. And you'll be alerted to more of these lives. 2 next week with Luke Richardson. 1 will be, and Luke, by the way, Europe's strongest man a few years back. One of the best names in strongman who you don't know about yet, for those who don't know about him. On Tuesday, we'll be training. On Friday, new deadlift PR, members only stream. So go ahead and join the membership if you haven't. And until next time, lift heavy, be kind, and have a great day.